Hello everybody, Justin. Welcome back. We're here in the campsite. We're in Georgia, Perry, Georgia. As you can see, we are out and about. I got a wonderful, quick one-pot dish that I'm going to make for you. It's like a chicken curry style with rice. And, basically just do everything in there. And this is a quick, easy dish that you can do in probably about a half hour. I used to make a version of this a lot at the country club. I used to make, because we had a lot of gentlemen that were from Bangladesh and other countries around the world, and it was really nice. I used to make it really spicy for them. I can't handle that heat level, but we're gonna make a really fun version of that. You can use whatever vegetables you'd like. I've got some roughly diced carrots, green peppers, some red onions, garlic. We're gonna saute this off with the chicken. In this one, what I call like my more delicate vegetables, I've got some Roma tomatoes I diced, some peas, and then on the very bottom here I've got some scallions diced up. Okay, so this is my seasoning mix. When I make a curry, you don't just use curry powder. So curry powder comes from, it's actually a British invention, and it comes from when England actually took over India and wanted to bring the taste, the flavors, all those amazing spices and aromatics back to Britain. And so they created curry powder. And so when I make something like this, I do curry powder, but then I add granulated onion, garlic, I add a little ginger, a little cinnamon. There's a little bit of seasoning salt in there. There's some red pepper flakes. There's a little bit of roasted garlic seasoning in there. I mean, you throw everything in this, and it creates a very complex and very nice flavor. And again, I can't handle a lot of heat, so it's just very minimal heat. So that's that. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take, this is kind of a lot of seasoning. What I'm going to do is take some of this, salt and pepper first. Take some of this, I'm going to mix it with my diced chicken and kind of give it like a quick marinade. We're going to saute that off in the pot here. We're going to add our harder vegetables, saute that all together. We're going to throw in our rice, a little bit of chicken stock, and our more delicate vegetables. Cover it, forget it, and we're good to go. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get this chicken cut up, and let's get that marinated. Alrighty, so because we're outside, I've got gloves on. I've started to preheat our pan here at a medium heat. This is a cassette burner. This uses butane. These are really good. We use these a lot for action stations at the club, and this helps me be able to cook outside a lot more efficiently. So we've got our chicken here. I've just got 2 chicken breasts, boneless, skinless, and all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to nicely dice it up, trim off any pieces that are undesirable. Like some of this rib meat here, we don't really need that. You don't have to use chicken breast. It's just what I had in the freezer. You're welcome to use chicken thighs, chicken tenders. You can also do this with ground beef or pieces of beef, and just change out the chicken stock with beef stock, obviously, and it would work just as well. It's a really good actually with ground beef, and I assume you could do this with pork. I never have, but that's a very nice lean protein that you could do, and that would be easy. I'm going to cut these up in about medium to large chunks. I want them to cook rather quickly because I want this to be like a fast meal. I don't want this to take a couple hours, and that's the goal here. So nice chunks here. And then what I'm going to do is actually put it back in this bowl here. There's nothing wrong with this bowl. Nice and clean still. Take this off. Try not to make a mess. And I'm going to throw a little bit of oil in here. Thank you, Magic Hands. And I'm going to turn this down here so it doesn't burn. Because once we're going to throw a little bit of oil, the seasonings, and the chicken, and let that kind of marry together there for a minute. And what we're going to try to do is get a nice sear on the chickens, every piece, turn down the heat a little bit, add the vegetables, and then get those sauteing. because we want the chicken to be mostly cooked by the time that I add the rice. This is minute rice, so you know, it only takes a couple minutes to actually cook. If this was regular rice, you could throw this in, you know, in just a seared thing, cover it for, you know, 20-25 minutes, and everything would be perfect. So it's just what I have in our cupboard, and so that's what I'm going to use. Okay, so I'm just going to scoot this on over here a little bit. Got this beautiful bowl. Now, take this, a little bit of oil, oops, maybe a little more. And then I'm also going to add just a touch to the pan too. Nice and hot. I'm going to take our seasonings and I'm going to apply it to the chicken. Now you could also do this ahead of time and it would really enhance the flavors. You don't even have to season the chicken like this if you don't want to. I think it adds a much better layer of flavor. When I used to make this for the boys at work, you know, I would just use, you know, whatever was leftover vegetables, leftover chicken, maybe an extra hamburger patty that, you know, needed to be used up. And it was just a really nice dish that they, you know, something simple that they could really enjoy, especially, you know, especially at the end of the day. So, gonna go ahead, get this in here. Got that sizzle for sauteing. Now, one thing to remember with curry powders and stuff and turmerics is it does kind of stain everything, so you gotta be mindful of that. So I got that. I'm gonna turn this heat up now. So you can, you know, I got a little bit of that cinnamon in here. You really can start to smell that. And I might have, there we go. Actually turned it off. Brand new, first time using this one, so we're all learning together. So we're gonna go ahead, now that I've got this kind of mixed up with some of the oil in there, I'm gonna let that sit for a minute and get a nice sear. Then I'm gonna turn everything, get another nice sear. While we're waiting to do that, I've got a little bit of this Better Than Bouillon base. I love this stuff. My uncle's a chef and he showed me about this a few years ago. They have great product lines, obviously not sponsored, but I really enjoy them. I think they have a great taste, not a huge salt level to them. So I got about 2 cups of warm water here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mix that in. That's gonna be our stock. Getting that nice heat now, nice steam. Starting to get a nice little bit of a sear on there. There we go. Starting to really kick off now. So, I'll let that keep going, probably the next 5-6 minutes. And I'll bring you back as soon as we throw the vegetables in. Alrighty. So it's just been a couple minutes here. It's starting to get some nice color on there. Gonna let this keep cooking. Obviously it's not ready yet, but these vegetables are these are the more cooked vegetables that we gotta do. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss those in here. Don't mind my large hands. Try to get all that goodness in there. Don't mind me, we're all family here. All right. So now we're gonna add that garlic. It's really gonna start being aromatic. And you wanna keep the heat up high. I don't wanna sweat the vegetables, I want to saute them. And I did add just a little bit more oil because as this all cooks, it's gonna need a little bit more oil to cook down. So, and then also another thing you can do is also if you wanted to, you know, adjust this for, you know, the amount of people you're cooking for. Depends what you like. If you like a lot of protein, little rice, you can do that. If you like a lot of rice, little protein, you can do that as well. And also, of course, then when you do that, you got to adjust your size of your pan. This is one of the larger pans that I have, so that's what we're with. Getting a lot of great aromatics. Now, I use tongs a lot. That's what I've done for the last decade of cooking. You can use a spatula, whatever you're comfortable with. I kind of know what level of pressure I can put on things. Alrighty. So, we're gonna kind of leave that alone now. Get that cooking down. And then we are going to add the rice and the other vegetables and the stock in probably about 5-6 minutes. Alright, so we are back now. I've got the chicken is actually fairly cooked at this point. Not 100%, but I'd say a good 75%. Vegetables are cooking down very nicely. They're also going to cook a little bit while they're steaming with the rice. So we're going to go ahead, add the rest of there. I got those peas, those tomatoes, and those green onions. Sorry about the sound. Get that a nice stir in there. See, it's very colorful. This is actually a very healthy dish. Now, I'm going to take the 2 cups of chicken stock we have. I'm actually going to pour it in a different container just for a minute. And let me actually get this stuff here on the bottom there. Okay. And actually, because I forgot, this minute rice you generally measure out, and I'm gonna do a cup and a half, I think. Because I actually want a little bit more meat to rice ratio. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw in this rice here. Take our handy dandy fork. Get all that goodness in there. And then again, I'm gonna put this back in here, and I'm gonna measure this back out to about a cup and a half. Now I've got a little bit more if we need to use it. The next thing I'm gonna do is take a little bit of our residual seasonings, and I'm gonna sprinkle that in, because I want the rice to also have that good flavor. I don't want the chicken just to be diminished because the rice is trying to take on some other type of flavor. So, got that all mixed up. And what I'm gonna do, make sure there's nothing on the edges here so everything cooks nicely. I'm gonna leave this on a medium-high heat. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cover it, and we're gonna give it about 5 to 8 minutes, and then we're gonna go ahead and give her a check. So it's been about 5 to 6 minutes. Let's do a nice quality check here. Ooh. Look at that, it's nice. A lot of the residual liquid. I don't mind a little bit of liquid in there. I don't want this to be super dry. Being careful not to break everything up. Give it a good mix. Smells really good, very aromatic. And let's see here. I think it could use a couple more minutes. Let's check the chicken. And you can just, sometimes I just break them apart a little bit. Just take a peek, just to double check. It looks perfectly cooked. Now I'm gonna give this just a little taste test here, really for the rice, just to make sure that it's not undercooked. Actually, that's pretty darn good. What I'm gonna do is add just a little bit more seasonings, not much, just a dab will do us. I'm gonna turn off the heat. I'm gonna cover this, and I'm gonna let this sit for another like 2-3 minutes. Just let the last of the liquid be absorbed. And give it one more good stir, and we are good to go. So we got our, see, it's all kind of thickened up. There's not really like a bunch of residual liquid. Go ahead and get this bowled up now. This is full of lots of vegetables, a lot of good flavors, a lot of good spices. Might be simple, but it's still very complex. And then I got just a little bit of scallions here that I thinly cut, put on top. A little bit goes a real long way with some of this garnish here. And there you have it. Alrighty, there you have it. We got the beautiful one-pot curry dish with chicken. So you can see it a little bit better there. Easy peasy. This is a very quick meal that you can make. You can feed a lot of people. Excuse our dogs. This is something you can make in an Instapot, or I guess you could try a crock pot. I never did it that way, but you could easily do that. This would feed a good amount of people fairly cheaply. And you know, I was really fun to share this, give a little bit of insight of something, you know, I used to do, and looking forward to what we have coming up. We're finally making it down to Florida. We're going to Disney World, and I can't wait to bring you along. Thank you for coming with us, and keep cooking.